Earlier today, I received a message from my friend Dave, and Dave informed me that I don't even have to bother with the new site because it's just gimmicky mastery fodder. Dave? What the f*** are you smoking, mate? So the new Caustacyst site comes from the biolab in a dojo. Now, no one has researched it, so I don't know the build requirements just yet. It does 75 raw corrosive damage, and this means two things. Number one, it is the first melee weapon that does raw corrosive damage, and number two, it is the strongest sight in the game right now. It has an attack speed of 1, critical chance of 5%, multiplier of 200%, and 30% status chance. It comes with one pre-installed V polarity, and it is a double dash polarity in the stance, which matches the stalking fan. Now, the unique mechanic of this weapon is when you do a charge attack, it will send out an exalted blade-like projectile that has a range of 20 meters, hits like a bloody truck, can benefit from stealth and finisher multipliers, can hit headshots, and leaves a puddle on the ground that does damage and opens enemies up to finishers. This thing is utterly ridiculous. Now, I was faffing around with different builds, and the one I decided to go for is just a 1 Forma build, and all you have to do if you want to use this one is just add 1 V. Now, even though the weapon does raw corrosive damage, and it has 30% status chance, so it would be good with sort of the standard status build, I went for a balls-to-the-wall max damage channeling build instead. And it's just so I can do as much damage with the charge attack projectile as possible. So the stance I'm using is Stalking Fan. This just matches the polarity, and it doesn't really matter because you're not going to be doing combos too much. You're basically just going to use the charge attack over and over and over again. Prime Pressure Point for a lot more damage, Killing Blow for loads of channeling damage, Focus Energy for some electric damage, which is going to combine with Shocking Touch, Fever Strike, and the innate corrosive damage, so we're doing almost 1000 corrosive damage with every hit, but it also provides channeling efficiency, which is important because I'm using Corrupt Charge. This adds even more channeling damage, but it does reduce the efficiency, and that's why I'm using Focus Energy, and this way I only lose 5 energy for every enemy I hit with the projectile. Then I am using Spoiled Strike, which just multiplies all the damage the weapon does, and finally 3 elemental mods, and this is going to change based on the faction you're going up again. So here I'm using Shocking Touch and Fever Strike, which is going to combine with Focus Energy and the innate corrosive damage for tons of corrosive damage, and Molten Impact for heat damage. Right now, overall, this is probably the strongest melee weapon in the game. And I'm saying overall because Covertly Touchy Daggers are still better if you can pull off finishers. And when you're using something like Galatine Prime with Blood Rush and Body Count and you stack your combo counter really high, it could outperform it. But if you've A, trained yourself to chain charge attacks so you can do one after another without the melee swing in between, and B, you put the enemies to sleep or you blind them, this thing just demolishes absolutely everything. However, there is a lot of people that consider charge attacks to be cumbersome because yes, you have to time it right and you have to hold down the button over and over again, and I can see how that could be annoying for some people. On top of that, if you want to do like really big damage, you need to put the enemies to sleep or you need to blind them, which is going to cost extra energy on top of channeling all the time, so it's going to drain your energy every time you hit an enemy. So for people that are not running the generic focus school, this may be too power hungry to a point where they simply cannot keep up with the energy drain. And also, let's not forget that chaining charge attacks is simply not fun for some people, so there is that as well. So this is a very niche setup. But oh boy, when you put everything together, so you're using the generic focus ability, so you don't have to worry about energy, and you're using something like Excalibur, which can blind enemies, it does so much damage. Now, I would lie if I were to say that I did not take inspiration for this build from Tactical Potato and Headshot. Now, even though my build was inspired by their builds, they don't work the same. Okay, there's a difference between my build, Headshot's build, and Potato's build, so I would definitely recommend you check them out, pick the one that you like the most, and say hello while you're there. So here is an annotation for Tactical Potato, here is one for Headshot, and if you're on your mobile phone, the links are in the description. And as always, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.